There's an old story among the Bushmen of the Kalahari. They say that the Mukulwani palm trees that stand on these thousands of islands are the footprints of the elephants. Perhaps I am biased, but I think this is the most beautiful wilderness on earth. My name is Adrian, and this is my home. I have spent my whole life in this wilderness, inspired by its beauty, humbled by its brutality. My dad is a naturalist. He showed me every bend in the river and every great baobab tree. And he helped me understand the lives of all the animals who live here. As young boys, he would walk my brother and I for days through the bush, and we would all sleep out under the Kalahari stars. And so, this incredible wilderness became my classroom and my playground. For many years now, I've been a guide and a naturalist and an artist, spending my days in the bush, watching the ways of the wildlife. Perhaps my greatest love is for elephants. All of the timeless wisdom of nature seems carved in their faces. And the Okavango is a paradise for elephants. Over 30,000 of them live here. This time, I'm flying into the Delta, not on one of my regular trips as a safari guide, but to visit some old friends. Friends who are just beginning a new chapter of a remarkable story. A story that belongs to a unique family of African elephants. The Abu herd. I've known this family of elephants for 18 years. I've walked alongside them on many journeys and shared many adventures, and we have become old friends. But now, among these elephants, a new drama has begun to unfold. The story of the Easter elephant. So these are my friends. Kathy is the wise old matriarch, and the elephant I've known the longest. Kitametsi, Shirini, and Jiko are the adult mothers and guardians of several younger elephants. And the mahouts, or elephant handlers who ride and care for them all, are the human half of this extraordinary cast of characters. Each evening, the herd returns from the bush, and the elephants sleep in this safe enclosure, or boma, at Abu Safari Camp, protected from lions, hyenas, and wild elephants. The pattern of daily life starts at dawn. Most days, the elephants are saddled up and ride out into the Okavango, carrying privileged guests on a unique safari. For me, there's no better way to experience the sounds and smells of this African wilderness than walking with this herd of elephants. Even for those of us who know the familiar rhythms of the bush, every dawn promises a day of new surprises. And this particular day would set in motion a chain of events that would change our elephant family forever. Two game scouts were out looking for animals. Suddenly, they heard blood-curdling screams and trumpeting in the bush. A baby elephant was being attacked by hyenas. It was a chaotic scene. As they watched, the little elephant rushed to the vehicle for protection. Perhaps she was drawn to the large size of the vehicle, or the low, elephant-like rumble of the engine. But instinctively, she knew it offered safety from the hyenas.
Just put a report, okay?
The guides called back to camp, wondering what they should do. Whether they should try to help her or leave her alone. The hard decision was made to let nature take its course, to leave the little elephant to her fate.
Okay, let's let it go.
It's an accepted rule of living and working in the bush, among these wild and magnificent creatures, that we never interfere with nature. Sometimes it's hard, and we witness things that appear brutal, but it's the natural way of the wild.
When you're out in the bush, you encounter a lot of things which is not our position to interfere with them. It's a natural order of things, and we're there to observe what's happening. I guess it's human nature to want to interfere and to want to assist and save and rescue things. But we all taught and you grow up not being allowed to do that. It's actually an official policy, not allowed to interfere with things.
We are here to observe and not to intervene in nature. Now, if it's a man-made situation, say an elephant or an animal's been snared, then I would intervene, or something's been shot by a poacher or something, I would definitely intervene. Something like a lost elephant, as hard as it is, I would not intervene.
So it's an unusual sighting to see a hyena attacking a baby elephant. So that makes it difficult to decide what will you do. So, but for me, it's very simple, straightforward. I'm an elephant man. I will save the elephants, whatever comes.
Although it's unusual, sometimes very young elephants do get separated from their mothers, or even from their herd. On rare occasions, they might be adopted by other members of their own family, but almost never by another herd. Usually they would die, alone in the bush.
The only explanation I could think of was a traumatic event happened, they were scared by something, or they came across something unusual that spooked the herd, and the little one couldn't keep up. I mean, they're so close, elephant herds, and they're young, so we can only think about the options, and that's one possible option, that a traumatic event happened and she was separated.
The Abu herd know all too well how tough life out here can be. They are a family now, but almost every one of the Abu elephants came from an unfortunate background. Kathy, the leader of the herd, was brought over from a safari park in Canada. Shirini and Jika are survivors from a Kruger Park culling operation, and Kitty is also an orphan. The youngsters are luckier. Abu, Lorato, and Naya have all been born into this unusual family. The next day, everything was back to normal. The Abu herd rode out as usual at sunrise. But no one could have guessed that morning what they might find in the camp generator room. Incredibly, the injured and traumatized baby elephant had somehow found her way into camp during the night. She must have followed the vehicle all the way in, and then been drawn to the rumbling sound of the generator. She was quite badly injured from the hyenas and suffering acute dehydration. Now, everyone was faced with a dilemma. The decision had been to let nature take its course. But she escaped the hyenas and found her way to the safety of the camp. We all knew that her chances of survival were very slim, but we decided to take that chance and see if perhaps the Abu herd could help. The herd was quickly brought back from the bush. 2 of the females in the Abu herd have calves, so are lactating. And this little elephant needed milk soon. Without it, she would die within hours. Maybe, just maybe, one of the females in the Abu herd would give her the milk she needed. Kitimetsi was the first elephant we tried. She is a very sweet, gentle elephant who has a calf called Lorato, but she can be skittish. It only took Kitty a few seconds to decide she wanted nothing to do with the baby, and she ran off into the bush. Shirini was the only other option. She's not as gentle as Kitty, but her calf, Abu, is quite a lot older than Lorato, so it was worth a try. Shirini was obviously curious and excited. She seemed prepared to tolerate the strange baby. For a few moments, Shirini let the baby try to drink. But then she lost her nerve and backed away. It seemed like a failure, but the Mahuts knew what to do. They walked Shirini and the baby to Kathy, the old matriarch. If Shirini wanted to keep the baby, she'd need permission from Kathy. No one knew what Kathy might do. If she turned aggressive, she could kill the little calf instantly. There was huge excitement between Kathy and Shirini. The baby was desperate for milk, but without Kathy's permission, Shirini wouldn't let her drink. Elephants have a strict hierarchy that needs to be followed. And then, Kathy seemed to give her approval, and the thirsty baby began to suckle. It was the start of something extraordinary. Although she was still incredibly weak, the little calf managed to follow Shirini and the herd back to the boma. Back in camp, we wanted to give the baby a name. It was Easter Sunday, which in Setswana is Paseka. And so she came to be Paseka, the Easter elephant. Next morning, Paseka was already looking better and feeding well. And in the days that followed, she ventured out beyond the boma and became stronger and stronger. Paseka had survived some huge challenges in her young life, but she was still very vulnerable and now totally dependent on Shirini. So finally, after a few weeks away, here I am, arriving back. I'm keen to meet Paseka and get to know her. It's a trip I've made many times before. For years, I've walked with this herd. As soon as I'm with them, I'm in a different world. To me, coming back to the elephants is like coming home. This time, though, it's all the more intriguing. There's a new member in my family, and I'm excited to see her. Come evening, I finally get what I've been waiting for. My chance to meet little Paseka.
Helikopter. Paseka, kom. Pick it up.
I'm amazed how quickly she trusts me.
Why don't you pick it up?
We immediately become friends. My hope for now is that alongside the Abu elephants and the mahouts, I can help to guide her on the next stages of her new journey. Paseka is looking really well, but it's early days, and baby elephants are quite fragile. They can be fine one day and then suddenly die, often for no obvious reason. At first, we were concerned that Shrini's milk may not be rich enough for Paseka, but she seems to be gaining strength. Her arrival here was pretty sudden and dramatic. She's okay for now, but we are all wondering what her future holds, and whether, in hindsight, we all did the right thing in rescuing her.
She was a persistent little elephant. They made the right decisions. They tried to get away from her. They tried to disassociate themselves from her, but she wasn't going to have any of that. So, yeah, they tried to do what they could, but then she found her way into the camp. And then past that, what do? Then it's almost like the decision's out of your hands.
Paseka is a totally different story because she clung on to her life and appeared in camp. And then once you've got an elephant in camp who is demanding and all the rest of it, then the tables are turned and you can't necessarily not intervene.
You know, what are the chances that a baby elephant gets abandoned just near Abu camp, where, you know, she can find her way in and essentially be rescued?
It was a very short time period between her losing the herd and her arriving in camp and announcing her presence and demanding to be looked after, that she had a very short window, and she was really lucky in that respect.
Paseka was really young when she came in. It's very difficult to nurse and look after a young elephant, especially that age. So the opportunity or the chances of its survival to be actually adopted by another lactating elephant is probably the only chance she would have had.
A young elephant as small as Paseka wouldn't last very long in the wild. Not only has she got the predators to worry about, I mean, she was being chased by hyena initially, lion could easily take her off, even a leopard could probably take her down in her weakened state. But the heat at that time of the year here in the Delta is extreme, and she probably wouldn't have lasted much longer than a day or two without water and without her mother's milk.
Paseka is incredibly lucky that Shrini adopted her and gave her access to that milk, because if she didn't have that, who knows what would have happened to her.
And so, my journey with Paseka begins. Every day we go out with the herd, and every day is filled with new adventures.
Slowly.
Often we encounter wild elephants on our walks, but Paseka shows little interest. I try to help Paseka through the day-to-day routines of being an elephant that lives with humans. She explores everything with delight and grows stronger every day.
Let's go and pick some more. No. You can't put your hand in there. It's my hair, my ears. You're going to get stuck in that hole, yeah?
She loves having a sand bath. It's her favorite thing.
Not very elegant.
It helps get rid of parasites, and I think provides some relief where the flies have bitten her.
Can't find your feet.
On our walks, young Lorato, Kitty's calf, starts to play with Paseka and I. It's a good sign.
Move up.
Paseka will need a good elephant friend.
Getting attacked from both sides here. Come on. Let's go. Move up.
After every day out in the bush, the herd stops to drink before heading back into the boneland. Like all baby elephants, Paseka doesn't have much control of her trunk, so she drinks directly with her mouth. It's been a great couple of weeks with Paseka, but mine is a wandering life, and I have to leave for a while. I know the guys will take good care of her while I'm away. So far, she's doing well, and she's starting to be accepted by the herd. But she's still fragile, and she's still got a lot to learn. Paseka soon settles into the daily routine. Early mornings are spent grooming and training the elephants. Paseka's an inquisitive and playful little thing, and everyone cares about her a lot. The elephants are given cubes as a treat and as a reward for good behavior. The sweet-tasting cubes are irresistible. It's an important part of the elephant-mahout relationship, training by positive reinforcement. These mahouts and elephants live together 24/7. It's a very special bond that develops between man and animal. Every morning the elephants go through training. It's really important for safety and for things like vet care, that they can obey commands. Physical touch is a vital element of this relationship. Elephants are very social, and touch reinforces bonds. Sometimes, even an elephant needs a hug. Elephants learn a lot by observation, and Paseka catches on really fast. She's quickly worked out the connection between shake and the reward just by watching. She's far too young to begin training, but she's clever. And already she's trying to swindle cubes out of the mahouts. And she's cheeky. She takes every opportunity to steal cubes wherever she can. Kiti's daughter, Lerato, is used to being the youngest and getting all the attention. But with Paseka barging in, things have changed. Like kids in a schoolyard, they're slowly becoming friends. But when it comes to sharing cubes, there are definitely limits to friendship. Shirini, Paseka's new mum, is much more forgiving and gentle with her. And the two of them seem to have a special relationship. Kathy, the grand old lady, has never had a calf of her own.
Good girl, you take it away, I'll give you cubes.
And she's gradually developing a real soft spot for Paseka. Like any wise grandmother, she quietly tolerates the youngster's bad behavior. Paseka is fascinated by Kathy's regular soccer game, and she wastes no time butting in. She's still very uncoordinated, but is learning fast.
Pick it. Nice shot. That's a nice shot.
And playing like this is important for both her physical and social development. It's a fun way to learn that actions lead to rewards, something that will become crucial for her training in later years. An elephant's trunk is a miraculous tool with hundreds of thousands of muscles. Paseka is slowly becoming more coordinated, but she still struggles to drink with her trunk. It could take up to a year for her to master it completely.
The day I will see Paseka drinking properly with a trunk, I'll be a very happy man.
The summer rains begin in earnest, and everything turns green and lush within a few days. I'm back in the bush again, and on my way to meet the elephants. It's been quite a few weeks now, and I'm excited to see how Paseka is getting on. Back with the herd, I can immediately see real changes in Kathy. She's becoming more protective over Paseka, and she steps in to help whenever there's a problem.
Oops, got a bit of a roadblock. Give us some hand, Kath.
Paseka, come.
Paseka is lucky. Not much stands in the way of Kathy.
There we go, now the road's open. Log removal services.
After good rains, the Ellies are feeding on a sea of grass. But Paseka still needs to learn how to handle the stuff. Vegetation is becoming more and more important in her diet. She hasn't got the strength to grip it, so I'm teaching her how to tie it around her trunk and then pull.
Around. Wrap it, hold it, pull. Clever, eh? Yeah, there we go. Tie a knot in it. You much rather let me do the painful work, huh? And you just get the rewards. Look at this confetti bush, it's full of spines, and it's one of the things that Paseka's got to learn is how to pull the leaves off without getting all the spines caught up in her trunk. And to do that, you just got to get your trunk around the base of it and pull. Oh, it doesn't always work. She's eating just about all day. Bits and pieces. I was trying to keep up with everybody, but then whenever there's an opportunity, it's to stop and eat and to give me a hard time. It's food. She's growing, and there's not a lot of food around at the moment, so it's every little picking is something, and it adds up, but it's busy. She's busy eating all day, pretty much.
One of the Ellie's favorite things is a mud bath. It's a great way to relax and have fun, but it's also important for learning social behavior, especially for the youngsters. Since Shirini adopted Paseka, her son Abu has been a bit jealous. Paseka is getting all his mother's attention, so he still has the odd go at pushing Paseka around.
Abu, hey. There's a lot of body language and socially acceptable behavior that they need to learn. And if they don't, they're going to have a very hard time in life. So being able to learn that right from the beginning from other elephants is the most critical way for them to be able to understand where they belong in the whole system. The elephants, what they can teach Paseka is by far superior to what we would ever be able to achieve, so we're very lucky with that. It's critical in that young age for a young elephant to be exposed to all the social aspects that happen, to be disciplined if they're being naughty, to be encouraged if they're doing the right thing.
Go and play in the mud.
She's at the bottom now, but she doesn't think so herself. So it starts off when they're very young that they'll be tolerated through a lot of their mischief and so on. But then at some point, somebody's going to turn around and give her a hiding for something if she's pushing her luck somewhere. And that will put her back into her place and it'll give her an understanding of the respect required to live in a social group.
It's great to see Paseka learning the social side of being an elephant. But with her human friends, she has picked up some bad habits. As her confidence grows, she's getting a bit cheeky, testing the limits.
No.
She needs to learn that charging at people, even for fun,
Come on, Mum. Take care of it.
is not acceptable.
There you go.
She still needs to understand the rules of being an elephant that lives with people.
The elephants, they're very physical animals with each other. They're forever bulldozing their way past each other, pushing each other out the way, but not aggressively in any way. It's just their sort of nature. It's how they behave with each other. So if you're walking along with them, they tend to treat you the same way. And so if you're walking along, they come up running behind you, and you get bulldozed out the way. That's not aggressive behavior or anything like that, but you learn how to deal with it in a calm way because if you confront it, they'll start pushing you. Then they see it as a game, or they'll start trying to knock you over and stuff. But if you just touch them on the side of the head or something on the side of the body, they brush past you and they carry on, and it's just part of the way they deal with each other. Like with Kathy coming past, you'd never want to stand in her way, otherwise you'd get flattened. So it's always best to step aside, but to be brushed is normal, that's how elephants behave. So it's part of the interactions, part of the physical side of being a social creature.
Paseka spends more and more time with grandmother Kathy. It's good. She's a good influence. And Paseka will learn not only how to be a well-mannered elephant, but also how to behave around people. Not much can stop an adult elephant. But when you are still little, even a small log can be a big challenge.
It's a small log, you can get over there, come on.
A high thing is not a problem. But when it's a wide high thing, it becomes an issue. If she can get her front legs over, she's fine. But if her back legs get stuck, she ends up like a seesaw.
Time for a scratch. There we go. Oh, both back legs caught. Yep. Yes, that takes a bit of work, eh?
The forest is full of good things to eat, and every day I try to show her what a wild elephant would eat. But Paseka is a little choosy.
Come, Paseka, come see here. Easy, come. Gently, gently. Whoa, 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 whoa. Gently. Not that good. Yes. No wonder she won't eat it. These little cucumbers that I tried to introduce Paseka to, she wasn't interested, but Sharini's hoovering them up. So I don't know if it's just more of an acquired taste. And what we find here in September, all these palm trees are starting to get fruit. All the fruit are ripening. They take most of the year to ripen. But the elephants absolutely love them. And there's a very thin layer of flesh which they chew up, which it's beautiful. It smells almost like gingerbread. Tastes quite nice too. But they just chew the outside, and she'll spit it out. She won't swallow, but the adults will eat a whole lot, swallow the whole thing, and the seed will still come out completely intact. And it's one of the main ways that these seeds get dispensed around everywhere. So wherever you see palms, you generally know maybe elephants have brought them there at some point. The footprints of the elephants.
One morning, Shirini and Paseka are enjoying a mud bath. It all seems calm and relaxed. Then suddenly, Shirini gets agitated and chases Paseka off. Kathy immediately steps in to confront Shirini. As the matriarch, she wants to know what's going on. Khaled calms the situation, but I start to wonder why Shirini might be acting differently towards Paseka.
Let's go, Tsotsi.
The incident seems to be soon forgotten. Everyone is calm on the walk home. But for me, it's a worrying turn of events. Every day after the morning safari, the elephants feed in the bush, and the mahouts take time out to unwind nearby. But even though everyone is relaxed, they need to be vigilant in looking after the herd. Suddenly, Shirini is acting strangely again. She's stressing out, making it quite clear she doesn't want Paseka around. We are all concerned about this behavior. It's a serious rejection and might have far-reaching consequences for Paseka. Luckily for Paseka, Kathy is always there to comfort her. But it doesn't help if Shirini won't give Paseka milk. Back in the Burma, Paseka, perhaps sensing Shirini's rejections are becoming serious, tries to push her way past Lorato to get at Kitty's milk. But even though they are now best friends, Lorato forces Paseka away. Although Shirini is still reluctantly feeding her, things are beginning to take a turn for the worse for Paseka. Little does she know that everything around her is about to change again. In the middle of winter in the Okavango, the greatest spectacle of the Delta rapidly unfolds. Almost overnight, the annual flood arrives, and it's incredible to see. The landscape is transformed into a massive wetland. This is the biggest flood for 30 years. Paseka is now plunged into a very different, watery world. I love this time of year, the coming of the flood. It's a time of renewal. There's new life everywhere, and the Okavango just looks glorious. For the Abu herd, The floodwater turns the delta into a giant swimming pool, and elephants love to swim.
Wow, looking very impressive.
Watching her, Paseka looks really happy. She's enjoying her new life. She's made some real friends, both elephant and human. But the issues with Shirini seem to be escalating. It's on and off. Some good days, some bad days. What will happen if Shirini turns her away forever?
Ciao, Frank, thank you.
I'm on my way out again. But with everything that has happened with Shirini, I am really worried about Paseka. Even though she's becoming more and more capable and independent, I can't shake off a sense that things are going to change for the worse. She seems happy in her own little world, perhaps unaware of the changing dynamics. And she's always ready to enjoy a sound bath. I've only been away a few days, when Khaled tells me Shirini's behavior towards Paseka is getting worse. One morning, our worry that something serious might happen suddenly comes true. Paseka has no idea what she has done wrong. It's a stinging rejection. Confused and unwanted, she turns to her grandmother Kathy. In all the years I've known Kathy, she has never let another little elephant walk underneath her. Paseka must truly have found her way into Kathy's heart. With everything that has happened to her, losing her biological mother, being attacked by hyenas, Kitty rejecting her, and now her adoptive mother rejecting her, life has been pretty harsh for Paseka. It seems the Easter elephant is alone again. I've come straight back as soon as I heard about Shirini. Outwardly, everything seems tranquil. But I know there's turmoil in Paseka's life. I've grown really attached to this little elephant, but I'm not sure what I can do, other than quietly watch as events unfold. And then, the very next day, something extraordinary happens. Lorato walks over to Paseka, takes her by the trunk, and gently leads her to Kitty. Perhaps Paseka's friendship with Lorato has changed Kitty's attitude. Or perhaps she senses Paseka's distress. Whatever the case, After a year of turning her away, Kitty finally lets Paseka suckle. It's a remarkable shift and a huge relief for all of us. Paseka is soon back in good spirits, playing her favorite game. Her soccer skills have come a long way. It seems like a turning point. It's been a long season, and we decide to take the elephants on a special camping trip. It's time to unwind and relax, but mainly to think about the new dynamics of Paseka and the herd. On the walk out, the younger elephants seem to have really got into the spirit of our little adventure.
What are you doing?
The inseparable Paseka and Lurato behave like a couple of clowns and give the local impala a hard time.
It seems like the elephants have stolen somebody's coffee this morning.
It seems Paseka is getting over her troubles. She's a happy little elephant, and now completely part of the Abu herd. We camp out for the night near a great old baobab tree, and in the morning we ward off the chill with campfire coffee. Dawn in the bush rejuvenates the soul, but it's also a time for me to reflect on everything that's happened.
Good morning, Paseka. How was the night out camping, huh? Did you sleep well, huh? I thought so. Good girl, Paseka. I slept well, too.
Paseka and Lurato, of course, are inseparable.
You've been pinned down here.
They will probably be lifelong friends.
Here's a good girl, Lurato. It's been a really incredible year with Paseka. We've both learnt a lot. I certainly have learnt a lot. It's wonderful to see that Kitimetsi's taken over the responsibility of keeping her fed and acting as the adopted mother. Paseka's got a wonderful relationship with Kathy, which is great, as a grandmother, matriarchal figure to look up to, which she's really going to need. And I just find this last time that I've been out here with her, she's definitely learned her independence. I get the feeling that she doesn't really need me anymore.
Although I know I'll be back, I feel this is the closing of a chapter for me and the start of a new one for Paseka, the Easter elephant. It's always a huge privilege to spend intimate time with these gentle giants. To be able, for a brief moment in time, to connect with their great spirit. And to walk in the footprints of the elephants. I'm leaving her among good friends, both elephants and humans, who will care for her well. And whatever comes, Paseka will always have a special place in my heart.